Okay.
Okay, next question.
Next question.
Go ahead. What is Dewey's relationship with the Gordons? She's like the adopted daughter, but
Not officially.
She's the girl she's like your best friend, like the best friend that's always at your house.
The best friend you want for a sister, like the best
Exactly.
friend you want in your family.
But sadly, Suze is like kind of. I think Suze gets jealous really easily because she doesn't have like the brilliance that Dewey has in that same aspect. Like Suze's brilliance is more of like architect and design, and Dewey's is more scientific, just like her mom and her dad's.
And she gets jealous because like her mom gets like more connected with Dewey than she ever was with Suze.
Her real daughter, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think she was so used to being an only child, and then Dewey came in the family, and it was like,
She
She
was
was
shoved
used
in
to
the
having
corner.
someone- she was used to having
Back
someone else
burner.
that
I
had
don't
to
think
get the
it
attention.
was ever necessary. She resented Dewey. Like some people kind of view it as, but it's she understood the situation. She knew why Dewey was there. And so she couldn't really hold that against her. But yeah, there was definitely some jealousy. But if you have common ground, especially with a parent or something like that, if you have common ground with them, it's easier to connect.
Yeah. And having common ground with like an adult when you didn't really have any like.
Yeah, you don't have your
when
own
you didn't-
parents
Yeah,
around.
when you didn't have
and
anybody to like
mom
connect
was
to
like
or
that,
to talk to. Like you just take the opportunity right when you get the chance.
And unfortunately, Susie connected with her father. I mean, even like, there's a scene in the book where her dad takes just Susie out and they go and they look at the sand dunes and lay out there and everything. I think those two connect pretty well, but the fact that he isn't there for much of the book, I mean, he stays out of the missile range and everything else, I think that kind of affects it more. Just because, she doesn't have her, we always have our favorite parent growing up, one we prefer over the other. But,
The one we have wrapped around our finger, in other words.
yeah, exactly. The one we got suckered and the one we don't. And,
Wait, you can do that?
Well, it seems like only girls can do that.
yeah, but it's one of those. I think just the fact that the parent that she connected with the most wasn't there. So the fact that Dewey and her mom got along so well, kind of.
When she wanted to connect to somebody, she could.
Yeah, there wasn't that parent. Too.
But those two did have a connection. Dewey and Suze, they found a common ground, which was the wall. I mean, Suze did all the prettiness and all the decoration, and she loved cutting pictures out of magazines, and then Dewey did the more scientific side, and then they created something amazing
Together.
and that was their common ground. I mean, they were totally opposite. I mean, when they described the attic in the book, you have the wall in the middle and the Dewey side, which is super organized down to each nail and hammer racks and everything. And then you got Suze's side where there's paper everywhere. She can never find her scissors. She can never find her glue. And whenever she borrows Dewey's hammer, she never hangs it back up. And
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
they're
but that's
opposite.
their connection. But
Yeah.
like sometimes they need not like someone their own age connection, but they need like an adult connection
Yeah.
too.
They need that parent figure there.
They need like the wiser, like not like
Somebody to
oh
kinda
you're my
guide
friend,
them.
you're gonna agree with everything I say.
Well,
or
Suze
like
also
they need
had
someone
that
like
one
to
lady's
give them
grandma.
advice.
She had that grandma, the Latina girl that she met. She had her grandma because of the boxes that they made together, and she would go over there and she would help. She would make tamales with them, and she'd help them sell them. And I think that was another connection she had because Suze is artistic. So meeting that girl's grandma who made all these boxes and stuff like that, that was a connection because like her dad was never there, so she had to find someone else to connect to, and that's who she connected to.
Next question.
Would today's society react differently if the story took place today?
I think that today's society is so, we take our technology for granted so much. I mean, I don't think anybody at
I
this
think it
table
must
would
be
be
another
okay if they
experiment.
didn't have their cell phone, for an extended period of time. If you had to go a week without your cell phone, most people would panic, and they didn't have that level of stuff. So I mean, we take a lot of stuff for granted. Just the amazing technology
We
that,
grew up with it.
yeah, we grew
Well,
up
yeah.
with it. It's, ingrained in our society.
I
I
think
mean,
half the people just think it would be another experiment.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh, something
Look at
happens,
that,
it happens. If not, well, we'll try
so,
again.
I think a lot of people would be kind of unfazed with that kind of, even if you look in Yahoo, if you scroll through the little headline boxes, it's like way in the back they might have something about new technology that isn't consumer related. But so I don't think I think a lot of people today wouldn't even notice. So I mean, they just go about, and if it wasn't front page, blasted on the news 24/7, then most people have no idea
Yeah,
what's
so it has nothing to do with like consumers or like anything that people can buy or like not profit them, but like what would
Something that they can take into themselves.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, the new iPad is out. That's front page headline news. And
everyone is interested.
Everyone
in it.
wants it.
Everybody
Yeah.
wants a
If
piece
it's
of that.
exactly, if it's like something like nuclear technology, or like nuclear physics or something like that, no one's gonna really care unless they're
Maybe
in that
because-
field or
Maybe
like.
because they don't understand it, they're not educated
Yeah.
enough to understand
Well, it's not
it.
even
Well, that's
an
true, too.
education aspect. It's just the way society. Than worse today.
Well, like if you think about it, I mean, the technology that they were gaining back then was something completely new. And I remember in the book how they talking about the television and all this stuff like that, and how Dewey's friend was getting, him and his father were getting ready to, start the televisions, and he didn't want to go to college because of all that technology coming in. Nowadays, it's you go to Walmart and there's a 52-inch flat screen in your face. And then you look to your right and there's laptops and cell phones and
Blu-rays.
iPods and Blu-rays, HD this, HD that. And then now if you look at it, the technology that they thought was amazing back then is something that was like, we grew up with it, so it's
expected
nothing
now.
new.
It's expected.
But the one thing that, the whole rocket launch thing back then, it was the awe-inspiring thing, but I don't know how many rocket ship shuttle launches we've had up into space from Cape Canaveral. And, there's the Russian satellites, and then the American satellites, and then there's the Space
Cold
Center.
War, basically.
I mean, we as young adults, we grew up with all this stuff, but back then, they didn't get a chance. They didn't grow up with it. They grew up with different things. They grew up with different values and different, technologies. To them, the telegraph, like earlier, the telegraph was, big, and then it was the phone,
That
and
was the 1800s.
and then. Well, yeah, and then it went from like the mail to telegraph to the phone, and then we got like planes and ships and rockets, and everyone's just going crazy for all this new technology. And it's the same thing now. We're all going crazy for it. It's just we're going crazy for different types. It's not something like the iPod wasn't groundbreaking because it wasn't something that was going to change the world like the rocket did.